Hi friends, Juan the Yarn Addict here bringing you another bucket hat tutorial for the Kindness Matters 2024 movement. So the bucket hat that you see before you right now is called the JuanDawn bucket hat. And it got its name from my last guest on the latest episode of Let's Chat Stitches, which was Dawn the Yarn Doll. So I pulled out the stitch wheel and we chose stitches, and this is the product of that. So let me just give you a brief summary of what this is. Yes, it's a bucket hat, but the crown here is called the Jaxie wheel. So Creations by Jax created this, and I just had to use the design for this, so thank you so much, Jax. And so after using the Jaxie wheel, I went ahead and put a rim here just for some structure. After that, we have a series of double crochet crosses. After that, we have a modified spiked granny stitch here. So as you can see, you can't really tell that it's actually a granny stitch until you flip on the inside, and you can kind of see it, but not really still. So what I did was, instead of going into the tops of the granny stitch, I went ahead and pulled it out and did a treble in the middle of the granny stitches. So it gave it a new look, which is super nice. And then after that, we did a series of bean stitches. After the bean stitches, we went ahead and did the brim here, which is a series of half double crochets, and singles, which is super nice. Now the yarn that I used was Big Twist Living, and so that particular skein is 199 yards, and this is what I have left from that. So it's not much of a yarn eater at all. Now, this particular yarn does recommend a 4.5mm crochet hook, and I hooked up to a 6.5mm crochet hook. And I forgot to mention, this is anti-pilling yarn, so it's super nice. So I hooked up because I wanted to make sure that it fit me. I have a 23.5-inch head, and this fits perfectly. So if you measure less than 23.5 inches, perhaps hooking down to a 6 or even a 5.5 if you're using this. Now, if you are using other yarns, I do recommend that you follow the hook recommendation for the yarn of your choice. Okay, so that is pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. It's very easy. It's 24 rounds in total, and it is very nice. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this tutorial started. Okay friends, so to get started, what we want to do is create a slip knot on our hook. However you do this is absolutely fine. This is how I do it. And so from here, what we want to do is chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. From here, we're going to take the tip of our crochet hook and go into the first chain, draw up a loop, and slip to close. Tighten up your working yarn gently, and then take your tail and pin it against your chain that you just created, and you'll see a circle that has just formed. We're going to be working into this circle, but to get started with round number 1, what we want to do is chain 2. The 2 chains do not count as a stitch, it just elevates us to round number 1. So for the crown, we're going to do the Jaxie wheel. So I am taking this from Creations by Jax. Thank you, Jax. And we're going to start with 10 double crochets. So we're going to yarn over, go into the circle, draw up a loop, and do a double crochet. And we're going to do that a total of 10 times. Yarn over, go in your circle, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and then go through 2. So do that 8 more times, and I will meet you at the end of round number 1. Okay friends, so I'm here at the end of round number 1. I have 10 double crochets, and what we need to do now is close out round number 1. We do that by taking the tip of our crochet hook, going into that very first stitch of the round, drawing up a loop, and slipping to close. And this is what we should look like. Okay, so for our crown, we're going to create what's called the Jaxie wheel. So this is a design from Creations by Jax, and we're going to implement that for this project. So shout out to Jax. Thank you for the design. So for round number 2, what we're going to do is chain 2, and the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. It just elevates us to round number 2. From here, we're going to insert a double crochet in the head of the stitch that we just came out of, which is right here. So we're going to yarn over, go in, and do our double crochet as normal. From here, we're going to insert a front post double crochet directly downstairs. So we're going to go around this chain space and around the stitch and insert a front post double crochet. So yarn over, come down and around, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. Just like that. Okay, so we are basically doubling the stitches for round 2. Round 1 had 10, round 2 will now have 20. Okay, so from here we're going to go next door and insert a double crochet in the head of the stitch, which is right here. Make sure you're picking up your front loop and your back loop. Draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. From here, we're going to go into the basement downstairs here. Go downstairs and insert a front post double crochet. Yarn over, come down and around that stitch from round 1. Draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Just like that. And this is kind of what we're looking like here. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm going to do it with you one more time. So from here, we're going to go into the head of the stitch with a regular double crochet, and then we're going to come down here and around the stitch and do a front post double crochet. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of the stitch up top here with the double crochet, and then we're going to come downstairs here and do a front post double, just like that. Okay, so continue doing that, and I will see you at the end of round number 2 right here. Okay friends, so I am at the end of round number 2. I have a total of 20 stitches. 10 of them are front post double crochets, and 10 of them are the regular double crochets in between. Okay, so to close off round 2, what we want to do is go into the very first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. Okay, so for round number 3, we're going to once again chain 2, and we're going to increase by 10 stitches. So just a general rule of thumb, we're going to carry up these front posts on every round. And so when we go to work them, we're going to do a double crochet on top and then a front post in front. And then every double crochet that you see that does not have a front post in front of it stays a regular double crochet. Okay, so the increases are coming from the front posts. All right, so for round 3, we're going to do 30 stitches, and we're going to start by going into the stitch we just came out of, which is right there. We're going to do a double crochet, and again the chain 3 there does not count as a stitch. So now we're going to go next door. We have the front post here, so we're going to go on top with a double crochet, and then we're going to come downstairs and carry up the front post. So we're going to yarn over, come down and around the stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, just like that. From here, we're going to go next door and do a regular double crochet. And here we are at a front post again. So we're going to go next door and do 1 up top, double crochet, and then a front post double crochet right here. Yarn over, come down and around, and just do a front post double, just like that. So we're going to copy that pattern all the way around, and just to make sure you guys have it, we're going to do it one more time. So after you do your front post double crochet, you're going to come next door here where you're going to see a regular double crochet, and you're going to put a regular double crochet in the head of that stitch. So yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Now here next door is a front post double crochet. So whenever you see these, you're going to do 1 up top here, and then a front post double crochet under it next. Okay, so let's do that. Double crochet up top, then a front post down and around. Just like that. Okay, so continue doing that, and I will see you at the end of round number 3 right here in just a second. Okay friends, so here I am towards the end of round number 3. I did my regular double crochet. The next stitch here is a front post double crochet. So I'm going to go on the top and do a double, and then I'm going to come down and around to do a front post underneath, just like that. Okay, so this is what we're looking like so far, 30 stitches. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to close off round 3 by going into the first stitch of the round, which is right here. We're going to draw up a loop and slip to close, just like that. So for round number 4 is going to be 40 stitches, and what we're going to do is chain 2, and again it does not count as a stitch, it elevates us to round 4. And from here we're going to go into the stitch we just came out of with a double crochet. We're going to go next door. We see a regular double crochet. We're going to insert a regular double crochet right into the head of that stitch. Now we have a front post double crochet. So whenever we see a front post, we're going to insert a stitch on top and then come downstairs into the basement and do a front post double crochet down here. Okay, so yarn over, go into the top with a double, and then come down and around that stitch and do a front post double crochet, just like that. So I'm going to repeat that with you one more time. So we're going to do a regular double crochet, come next door here, regular double crochet, and now we have a front post. So we're going to do a regular double crochet up top, and then we're going to come downstairs here and do a front post double crochet. So yarn over, come down and around, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Okay, so as you can see, we are carrying that front post. I think of it as spokes on a wheel. This is Jaxie's wheel. Okay, so continue on with this, and I will see you at the end of round number 4 right here. Okay friends, so here I am closing in on round number 4. So what we need to do now to finish is complete the stitches here. So this is a front post stitch. So as I mentioned before, we're going to insert a double crochet up top into the head of the stitch right there, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet right here in front of it. So let's do the double crochet, and now let's do the front post double, just like that. Perfect. Okay, so to close this out, what we need to do is go into the first stitch of the round, which is right here, draw up a loop and slip to close. So there you have it. And this is what the back is looking like, and we'll take care of this tail at the end. Okay, so for round number 5, you guessed it, we're doing 50 stitches. Each one of our spokes will be carried forward into round number 5. And as I mentioned before, every stitch that has a regular double crochet will also receive a regular double crochet, and every front post stitch will have a stitch up top and a stitch downstairs. Okay, so let's go ahead and get round 5 started. We're going to chain 2, and that does not count. It elevates us to round number 5. And from here, what we want to do is go into the stitch we just came out of with a regular double crochet, and we're going to do regular double crochets in 3 stitches. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. Here's the third one. Now we have a front post stitch. So as I just mentioned, we're going to do a double here at the head of the stitch, and then a front post double right around it. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So double up top, and now yarn over, come down and around, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so I'm going to do the next repeat silently just so you can see what I'm doing. And so there you have it. Okay, so continue on with this, and I will see you at the end of round number 5. You're going to need a total of 50 stitches. Okay, I'll see you in just a second. Okay friends, so here we are closing in on round number 5, and I have the front post stitch left in the round. So as I mentioned before, we're going to insert a double into the head of the stitch, which is right here, and then we're going to do a front post double down here. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. There's the double, and there's the front post, just like that. Okay, so to close out round 5, like before, we're going to go into the first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close. So round number 6 is going to be the last increase round for us. So let's go ahead and get that started. We're going to chain 2, and as before, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. It elevates us to round 6. And from here, we want to go into the stitch we just came out of with a double crochet. And we're going to insert double crochets wherever you see regular double crochets. So in our case, we have 1, 2, 3 more double crochets before we get to the front post. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so there are the 3 stitches. And now what we want to do is insert a double into the head of the stitch, and then a front post double crochet down and around. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of that. Yarn over, go in and do our double, and then yarn over and come down and around and do a front post double, just like that. I'm going to do the next repeat silently just so you can see what I'm doing, and then I will meet you at the end of round number 6. And so that's what we're looking like. Okay, so continue on with this, and I will meet you at the end of round number 6 right here in just a few seconds. Okay. Okay friends, so I'm closing in on round 6, and I have 1 stitch remaining here. And so since it's a front post, as I mentioned before, we're going to do a double crochet into the head of the stitch, and then a front post double right underneath. So let's go ahead and do that. Double crochet up top, and then a front post downstairs. There you go. So to close out round 6, we're going to go into the first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. And so this is what we're looking like. It's very nice. It's like spokes on a wheel. Okay, so for round number 7, what we want to do is we want to chain 2 and turn our work. And so we are no longer increasing. So our magic number for our hat is going to be 60 stitches. So from here, what we're going to do is front post double crochets for every single stitch in the round. Okay, all 60 stitches. So for the very first stitch, it could be a little confusing, but just remember that what you're looking at right here in the beginning is a stitch and a series of chains that elevated us to that particular round. So the front post double crochet that we're starting with is going to be a little wider than normal, but that's okay because we are picking up the chain here. See, if we turn back over, you'll see the chain 2 here, and then there's the stitch. We're going to grab both of those at the same time. Okay, so let's go ahead, yarn over. Let's come down and around, picking up the stitch and the chain. Draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, just like that. And we're going to do that to every stitch in the round here. Yarn over, come down and around, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Just like this. So continue doing this for round number 7, and I shall see you back here at the end of round number 7 in just a few seconds. Okay friends, so I'm approaching the end of round number 7, and what we want to do here is insert a front post double crochet in the last stitch of the round, which is right here. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Okay, perfect. So to finish out round number 7, what we want to do is go into the very first stitch of the round, which is right here. Okay, let's go ahead and pick up that front and back loop there. Draw a loop and slip to close, just like that. So from here, what we want to do is we want to chain 2, which does not count as a stitch. It elevates us to round number 8. And then we're going to turn our work back around. And as you can see, we have this little rim here. So 100% intentional. We're going to have a little feature of our hat, which will be a rim. Super nice. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we are going to work double crosses. So to do that, what we're going to do is skip the stitch that we're coming out of and go to the next stitch. So we're going to do a double crochet in the second stitch, just like this. And then we're going to backtrack and go into the stitch we just came out of. Actually, it's right there. So yarn over, let's come back around here and do our cross, just like that. From here, we're going to skip the next stitch and go into the next one right here with a double crochet. Just like that. And then we're going to backtrack into the skipped stitch, yarn over, go into that stitch and do a double crochet. And you can see these crosses forming. Super nice. So let's do it one more time. So from here, we're going to skip the next stitch and do a double crochet into the following stitch right here. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. From here, we're going to go into the skipped stitch, yarn over, come back, go in, draw up a loop, and do your double crochet per normal. And you'll see these crosses forming. Okay, so continue doing this for round number 8, double crosses all the way around, and I will see you when we get close to the end of round number 8. Okay? Okay, friends, I am at the end of round number 8, and I have counted. We have 30 of these double crosses. Okay, so just verify and make sure that you have 30 all the way around. And so to close out round number 8, as always, we go to the very first stitch of the round, which is right here. We're going to insert our hook, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. So for round number 9, we're going to chain 2, and as always, it does not count as a stitch. It elevates us to the round. And what we're going to do is we're going to hug the crosses. Okay, so instead of working into any of these stitches here, we're going to work into the spaces next to the crosses. And what's going to happen is it's going to crunch the cross down on top of the cross that you already see, and it creates a very nice texture. So to start, we're going to work with the space furthest away from us, and then we're going to backtrack and work the space closest to us, which by us I mean crochet hook. Okay, so yarn over, go into the furthest space from the hook, draw up a loop and do our double. And from here, we're going to go into the space closest to our crochet hook, which is right where my thumb is here. Yarn over, come down, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two, just like that. Okay, so let's do that again. Yarn over, go into the space furthest away from our hook, right here, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two, just like that. We're going to backtrack and go into the skipped space, the space closest to our hook, and do our double, just like that. Okay, so I'll do one more with you, and then I will meet you at the end of round number 9. So this is the cross we're working. We start here, we finish here. Okay, yarn over, go into the space furthest away from your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two. Now we're going to work the space closest to our hook, which is right here. Yarn over, come down, draw a loop, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two. And this is what we're looking like. So continue doing this, and I will see you right here at the end of round number 9. Okay friends, I am closing in on the end of round number 9, and as you can see, it creates a very nice little texture there. Love that. So to close off, we need to go into the first stitch of the round, draw a loop, and slip to close. For round 10, we're going to go around and do the same exact thing. This is going to be the third and final time of the double cross. So like we did the other 2 rows, we're going to chain 2. It does not count as a stitch. And we're going to continue working the double crosses. Go into the space furthest away from your hook, and then go back into the space closest to your hook. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yarn over and come back, just like that. I'll do it one more time. Just like that. Yarn over, come down and around. Just like that. Okay, so continue doing this for round number 10. This is the third and final time we're doing the double crosses. Okay, so I'll see you back here at the end of the round in just a few seconds. Okay friends, so I have reached the end of round number 10, and so we have 3 rounds of double crosses. I'm loving the spaces in between. It makes for a very nice hat for warmer weather. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the first stitch of the round to close off round number 10. Draw a loop and slip to close, just like that. Okay, so from here what we're going to do is we are going to work half double crochets in all of the spaces in between the crosses for round number 11. Okay, so let's start off by chaining 2. It does not count as a stitch, and we're going to jump over to this space on the other side of the first cross. Okay, so let's go ahead and yarn over, go into the space, draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops, and we're going to do that one more time, just like that. From here, we're going to hop over and do it again. Twins in the spaces. 2 half double crochets in between the crosses. Okay. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3, and do it one more time. Just like that. Okay. And this is what we're looking like. So continue doing this, doing half double crochets in all the spaces in between the crosses. And I will meet you when we get closer towards the end of round number 11. Okay friends, so I am nearing the end of round number 11, and as of right now I have 29 twins in between the spaces, so I need 30 to keep my stitch count correct. So in order to do that, I need to insert twins on the other side of this X right before the chain. Okay, so we're going to go in here and do 2 half double crochets just like that, and this will give me the 60 stitches that I need to complete round number 11. So to close it off, what we want to do is go into the first stitch, not the chains but the actual stitch. Go into the head, pick up the front loop and the back loop, drop a loop and slip to close, just like that. Okay, so that's what we're looking like. It's very nice. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to move into the spiked granny stitch. So to do this, the spiked granny works in multiples of 3 for this particular pattern. So what we're going to do is chain 2, and as always this does not count as a stitch. And what we're going to do is we're going to work into the stitch we just came out of, which is right here, and we are going to insert 3 double crochets. So go right in and do 3 double crochets. That's 1, this is 2, and this is 3, just like that. So from here we're going to skip 2 stitches and go into the 3rd stitch. So skip, skip, and go into this stitch right here with 3 double crochets. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Skip, skip, and go into the 3rd stitch with 3 double crochets. I'd like to think of it as 3 peas in a pod. Okay, so that is what we're working with for this particular round. This is round 12. So for round 12 we're doing 3 peas in a pod in every 3rd stitch. So skip, skip, and go right into that stitch right here. So that's the 3rd stitch, 3 peas in a pod. To help you remember, 3 peas in a pod in every 3rd stitch. Okay, so continue doing that, and I will see you back here at the end of round number 12. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 12, and what we're going to do here is close off the round by going into the very first stitch of the round. Okay, so before we do that though, I wanted to say you should have 20 sets of 3 peas in a pod. So if you count all the way around, you should have 20 of these. Okay, once you have established that you have 20, go into the very first stitch of the round, drop a loop and slip to close, just like that. Okay, and so for the next round what we're going to do is we're going to slip over to get to this space right here. So from here what we're going to do is go into the next stitch, drop a loop and slip, go into the next stitch here, drop a loop and slip, just like that, and then go into the space, draw up a loop and slip. Okay, so you want to slip all the way over until you are right here. Okay, so from here what we're going to do is chain 2, and that does not count as a stitch. Okay, what we want to do is go back into this space here with a double crochet. From here what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our hook around the heads of the stitches. Okay, so for every space you kind of see there's 2 heads of a stitch, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go in one side and out the other. Okay, so let me show you though. we're going to do a treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over twice, come down into the head of the one stitch and come out the other, just like that. We're going to draw up a loop carefully, yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two, yarn over and go through two. And then finally we're going to put the third stitch, which will be a double crochet, back into that space. Okay, so yarn over, go back into that space and do a double crochet. Okay, so that's what it's looking like here. So the first and the third stitches are double crochets, but the middle one is going to be a treble. It's going to spike all the way down here. Okay, so it's going past the round that we just came out of and into the next one. So let's do that again. Okay, so let's yarn over, jump over into this next space here, do a double crochet, just like that. And if you look down into that space, you see two heads of two different stitches. We're going to go in one side and out the other. But in the process, we're going to be making a treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over twice, come down into the one side and come out the other side. We're going to draw up a loop and pull that through. We're going to yarn over, go through two, yarn over, go through two, yarn over and go through two. So there's that middle stitch there. And then finally, we're going to pull this back and just reveal that space that we did the first stitch in, and we're going to do another double crochet. So yarn over, go into our space and do a double crochet. And that is what we're looking like here. Okay, so I'm going to do that with you one more time, but let me just re-explain what I just did. So for the spiked granny, we're going to do a double, a front post treble, and then a double. Okay, and then where we're pulling it from, that treble, is the two heads of the stitches right here. We're going to go in this side and out this side. Okay, so I'm going to do this third one here silently so you can watch what I'm doing. And that's pretty much it. So continue doing that, and I will see you at the end of the round right here in just a few seconds. Okay friends, so here I am at the end of round number 13. This is what our spiked grannies are looking like. Very nice, very textured. Love that. Okay, so again, just make sure that you have 30 sets of these stitches going around. And once you do, we're going to go into the very first stitch of the round, draw a loop, and slip to close, just like that. Okay, so from here, like we did last time, we're going to slip over to the next open space. So we're going to go into the head of the stitch with the front post treble, drop a loop and slip, go into the next stitch, drop a loop and slip, and then now go into the space in between the stitches, drop a loop and slip, just like that. Okay, and so now for this particular round, we're going to chain 2, and as always, this does not count as a stitch. It elevates us to the round. We're going to go into our space here with a double crochet. And now what we're going to do is go to the middle stitch of this cluster here, the 3 peas in a pod, and we're going to do a front post treble. Yarn over twice, come down and around that stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And then of course finish off with a double crochet back into that space that we started with. So yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, and do your double. Okay? Now these aren't your traditional spiked grannies, because traditionally you would just go into the head of the stitch instead of the space. But to add more texture, I figured why not? Let's modify that a little bit. Let's turn up the volume. And so that's why we're doing it this way. So from here, we're going to go into the next space, do a double crochet, just like that, and then a front post treble going into the middle stitch of this particular round where it was 3 peas in a pod. So yarn over twice, go down and around, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, just like that. And then of course finish it off with a double crochet into the space, just like that. Okay, so continue doing this, and I will see you at the end of the round right here. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 14, where we have the spiked granny stitch with all of the trebles here. It's hard to actually see them, but they're there. You can see it better from the inside. Okay, that's the inside look. This is the outside look. And so for round number 15, we're going to do a round of half double crochets. So to close off 14, what we need to do is go into the first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. So from here, what we're going to do is chain 2. It does not count as a stitch. And we're going to go into the stitch we just came out of and do a half double. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 3. We're going to do that to every stitch of the round for round number 15. 1 half double crochet for every stitch. Continue doing that, and I will see you back here at the end of round number 15. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 15, and so to close this off, we want to go into the very first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. Okay, so for round number 16, we're going to work the bean stitch. So to start off, what we're going to do is chain 2, and this does not count as a stitch. And we're going to work into the stitch we just came out of, which is right in between my thumbs. And so in order to do the bean stitch, what we're going to do is go straight into the stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go back into that stitch a second time, draw up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, go in a third time, draw up a loop, and you'll have 6 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. From here, we're going to yarn over and go through all 6 loops and chain 1 to lock. So from here, we're going to skip a stitch and go into the next one and do the same exact thing we just did. So we're going to skip, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go in a second time, draw up a loop. Yarn over, go in a third time, and draw up a loop. You'll have 6 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through all 6 loops, chain 1 to lock. And that is what we're looking like here. So for round number 16, we're going to do the bean stitch. Make sure that you're going in 3 times and you chain 1 to lock and you're skipping 1. So I'm going to do one more with you just to make sure that we have it. So we're going to skip this stitch and go into the next one here. We're going to go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go in a second time and draw up a loop. There's 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and go in a third time and draw up a loop. 6 loops on the hook. we're going to yarn over and go through all 6, yarn over and chain to lock. And that's what we're looking like. So continue doing that, and I will see you back here at the very end here of round number 16. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 16. And so what we want to do is close off round 16 by going into the very first stitch of the round, drawing up a loop and slipping to close. So for the next round, for round number 17, we're going to turn our work. So let's chain 1, does not count as a stitch, and we're going to turn our work. So we're going to work from the inside here. And so from here, what we're going to do is work into these triangles. If you look on the side of each bean, you will see a triangle if you pull it apart. Okay, we're going to be working in those. So the only exception is going to be this very first chain space because we had to turn our work. So we're going to go right into the space, draw up a loop, yarn over, go back in, draw up a loop, you have 4, yarn over, go in, draw up another loop, and you have 6. So from here, you're going to go through all 6, chain 1 to lock, and now we're going to move on. So we're going to go into our triangle here, just go right in, and repeat the bean stitch. So that's 1, yarn over, go in, that's 2, yarn over, go in, that's 3. You have 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 6, and chain to lock. And we're going to do that all the way around until you have 30 beans. Okay, 30 bean stitches. So go in once, yarn over, go in twice, yarn over, go in a third time. You have 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, go in all 6, chain to lock. So continue doing that, and I will see you here at the end of round number 17. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 17. Just verify to make sure that you have 30 beans, and once you do, you're going to go into the very first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close. Okay, so from here we're going to chain 1 and turn our work back around to the outside. Let me just reconfigure our hat. Perfect. Okay, so for round number 18, we're going to repeat round number 16. So we're going to work right into this open space right here to start. We're going to go right in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go in, draw up a loop. So you should have 6 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 6, chain to lock. Okay, and if you pull it apart, you'll see those triangles. That's kind of where we need to be working from. Okay, so go into the triangle there, draw up a loop, and go in and draw up loops 3 times. So you have 6 on your hook, 6 loops. Yarn over, go through all 6, and chain to lock. So continue doing that, and I shall see you at the end of the round right here on this side. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 18, and we have 3 rounds of the bean stitch. Looks very nice. Okay, so to close off the round, what we need to do is go into the very first stitch of the round with our hook, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. And so for round number 19, we're going to do a round of half double crochets. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 half double crochets in all of the triangles, all of the spaces next to the bean. And so let's go ahead and chain 2, which that does not count as a stitch. That literally takes us to the next round here, which is number 19. So to get started, what we need to do is go into the stitch we just came out of and do 2 half double crochets. It's 1 and that is 2. And then we're going to jump over here and do 2 half doubles, just like that. And we're going to continue this process all the way around until we have reached 60 stitches. Okay, so continue on with this, and I will see you at the end of round number 19. Okay friends, so here I am at the end of round number 19, and so once you have verified that you have 60 stitches or 30 pairs, just like that, what you want to do is insert your hook into the very first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close. So that concludes round number 19. So for round number 20, we're going to do another round of half double crochets. So chain 2, go into the stitch we just came out of, yarn over, go in and do our half double, and then we're going to do half doubles for every stitch of the round. And this is going to be the last round that we have of 60 stitches. We are now going to be working on the brim after this round. Okay, so continue doing this, and I shall see you at the end of the round right here. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 20, and we have 2 rounds of half double crochets. And so for round number 21, we're going to jump over to double crochets. Okay, so we are going to begin our increases, and so we're going to go from 60 stitches to 72 stitches. So in order to make that happen, what we need to do is insert our crochet hook into the very first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close. And so from here, what we want to do is chain 2, and we want to go into the stitch we just came out of with a double crochet. And again, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a double crochet. And what we want to do is 5 standalones and twins in a stitch. So let's go ahead and do our 5 doubles. There's the first one. Let's go do double number 2, double number 3, double number 4, double number 5. So we have 5 double crochets. In our next stitch here, we're going to do twins in a stitch. So 2 double crochets in the same stitch. There's the first one. We're going to yarn over, go back into that stitch, and do a second double crochet, twins in a stitch. Okay, so let's do that repeat one more time just to make sure you have it. It's going to be 5 standalones and twins in a stitch. So here's the first one. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. So it's 5 double crochets, and then in the next stitch we're going to do twins in a stitch. So 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, just like that. Okay, so repeat that 5 standalones and twins in a stitch for the remainder of this round, and I will meet you right here in just a few seconds. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 21. We're going to insert our hook into the very first stitch of the round, draw up a loop, and slip to close, just like that. So to start the next round, which is round number 22, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to insert a double crochet into the stitch we just came out of. And for this round, we're going to do 6 standalones and twins in a stitch. So let's go ahead and do the first section here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have a total of 6 standalones here. In the next stitch, we're going to do twins in a stitch. It's 1, and then there's 2. Okay, so for round number 22, it's going to be 6 standalones and twins in a stitch. So continue with that, and I will see you back here at the end of round number 22. Okay friends, so here I am at the end of round number 22. So we're going to insert our crochet hook into the first stitch, drop a loop, and slip to close. So for round number 23, we're going to do half double crochets, and we're going to increase one more time before we finish off. So round number 23 will be 7 standalones and then twins in a stitch. Okay, so we're going to chain 2, and of course this does not count towards our work, doesn't count as a stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch we just came out of, drop a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, and go through all 3. And we're going to do 7 in total. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. In the 8th stitch, we're going to do twins in a stitch, 2 half double crochets. That's 1, and that's 2, just like that. Okay, so again, 7 standalones and then twins in a stitch. I'll go over this with you one more time just to make sure that you have it. So this is first half double. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then in the next stitch, twins in a stitch, just like that. Okay, so continue on with that, and I will see you at the end of the round right here. Okay friends, so I am at the end of round number 23, and we're going to go ahead and close off the round by going into the very first stitch of the round, drawing up a loop and slipping to close. Okay, so for the last and final round of our hat, we are going to do a round of single crochets. So let's go ahead and chain 1, and then go into the stitch we just came out of, draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through 2. And we're going to do that for every stitch in this round, just like this. So continue doing single crochets for the last and final round, and I will meet you back here. Okay friends, so here we are at the end of round number 24. We've done an entire round of single crochets. And so to close off the round, what we want to do is go into the very first stitch of the round, drop a loop, and slip to close, just like that. From here, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to cut a tail about yay long. I want to say that's about 4 inches. Okay, and then we're going to pull the hook away from our work, just like that. And then we're going to pinch the working yarn and slide this down into our work, and it creates a very tight knot. And now we're going to sew in our ends. So let's grab the darning needle here. We're going to yarn over the eye, pinch, pull out, and feed through, just like that. And we're going to do what I like to call a zigzag technique. So we're going to go bing, bang, boom, just like that. So let's go in between the yarn here, picking up the fibers. It's going to ensure that it does not come out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Here we go. So once we have about that many, we're going to pull through. We're going to make sure that that knot folds over, just like that. And now let's come across this way, Making sure that we're picking up fibers and things, just like that. And then let's finally go in the direction we started with. Just picking up a few fibers along the way, just like that. And I like to just pull this apart to just make sure that it doesn't scrunch up, or, you know, we want to make sure that lays flat. So from here, we're going to go ahead and just trim our end like that. And then let's go to the center here inside where we have our tail here. Now, since we crocheted over that, there's nothing to sew in. We're just going to yank this tighter, and it's going to close our hole here. We're going to take our snips and just cut that off, just like that. And so here it is, my friends. It's very, very, very nice. So, just to recap, we have the jacksie wheel for the crown. And then we did a ribbing here just to give our hat, you know, some structure. And then we have the double crosses, which is super nice. And then we have the spiked granny. And then we have the bean stitch. And then our brim, which is super, super nice. So my friends, this was so much fun to make. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And then, of course, hit that notification bell to stay updated with everything regarding me and my channel. Until the next one, my friends, take care. Bye.